Giants can't get the contract done with Saquon. A little bit of some Eagles talk. What the hell is going on with the Sixers and some Mets and Phillies end of the season predictions? Let's get into it.
Oh my God! I'm embarrassed! You're flying!
Welcome in. It's almost time.
Good evening. Welcome back, Rivals. I believe this is week 5. Time's a-flying. It's a very good evening for most of us out there. Not much the Giants, and honestly, not much the Sixers either. We're going to get into all of it. We have a packed show tonight. Out of our 5 shows, I think this is probably the most packed show we've gotten thus far. So tune in. We have a whole bunch of stuff. We'll try to get to everything as much as we can. So you see the topics on the ticker below. So just wait. We'll get to it. So what's our sponsor for the day?
All right. Well, we want to give a quick shout out to our sponsor, FanUp. FanUp is the best way to enjoy fantasy sports, daily MLB contests, and more. Win great prizes. Sign up today. Use promo code A2D for 5,000 bonus points. That's a $50 value. And FanUp is in the App Store. And our poll question of today: Giants are locked to make the playoffs with Saquon Barkley on the roster. Well, he is on the roster, but we'll see if he even plays. So this poll it's a little interesting, you know. I'm gonna have to say, even as a Giants fan, I'm gonna have to say disagree. I think our schedule this year it's pretty hard. It's you after a good year last year, after you sign Danny Jones, after you bring in weapons for him, the schedule isn't what we want it to be. Let me pull it up real quick so that I'm not just spewing bullshit. But
It's tough around the NFC East this year.
I mean you're going up against the Niners. You got the Seahawks again. You got the AFC East. A good Bills team, a good Jets team. Dolphins are pretty competitive nowadays. Then you also got the NFC West. So, it's going to be an interesting season. I can't lie. But after today, which we'll get into in a little bit, but with Saquon probably not going to. I mean, it'll be interesting to see if he plays week 1. But yeah, I don't know if they're going to be making the playoffs. So I'm going to have to disagree. Luke, what is your thought on the poll?
Yeah, I'm going to take it a step further. I'm saying hell no to the poll. Absolutely not a lock. I'm not saying they're not going to make the playoffs, even with Saquon playing. Because here's the thing, and I'm not going to, spark this argument because it gets kind of heated, and I don't want to take the attention away from what the subject is, which is Saquon Barkley. But I tend to think that Giants fans get caught up in what the Eagles are doing. I just want everyone to know, I don't really give a shit what the Giants are doing because we're not scared. So I have a completely unbiased opinion with all of this. Let's take a look at this. Are they a lock to make the playoffs? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Because if you look at the landscape of the NFC, there's always a few teams that surprise you. On top of the fact that the schedule is going to be very hard, at least not nearly as easy as it was last year. So looking at it, let's look. So there's 3 wild card teams that are going to make the playoffs. Okay. And I think we can pretty much safely say that the Giants are not winning the division. Okay.
100%.
Yeah. Okay. So at least 2 NFC East teams are going to make it. You would think Dallas and Philly are borderline locks to make the playoffs at this point, and it's hard to imagine them not.
I mean, it'll be interesting. I mean, we'll get to it in a little bit. Also, did you saw the Dak tweet? I'm sure where he's like, "I'm not throwing 10 interceptions this season."
I didn't see that, but it's bullshit, and it's not true.
He threw 15 last year, and
especially with Mike McCarthy calling plays. Good luck to you, but I still think that they're probably more likely to make the playoffs than not. So we'll go with it. Okay. All right, so Dallas is 1 wild card team. That's 1. Mm-hmm. I think that 2 teams like the Vikings and Lions, I think will both make it, or it's likely that both teams will make it.
Fair.
So then,
yeah, it'll be interesting.
so then that leaves you one more slot, one more, and the
And it's not
Giants
going to
are
be two out of the NFC South, and I mean NFC West. It'll be interesting. It's more so, in my opinion, it's going to come down to the Giants and the Seahawks because I
right. Okay, I
even
was
think
I was
the
getting into that.
Niners.
So right, I was getting into that. So there's always a surprise team, and I think the new team to make it is probably the Saints, but they'll probably be the only team in their division to make it, so they don't really count. So Seattle, the Giants, Carolina, I wouldn't be all that surprised,
I would be a
honestly.
little bit surprised.
I'd be a little surprised, but
I could see the Bears more than
right, the Bears got a lot better. Another team that got a lot better is and I am very well aware that the quarterback is a massive question mark, but Atlanta got better. They got better. They added some talent. Defensively, they added Jesse Bates, the defensive lineman. I'm forgetting his name. He whatever. I'm not
didn't
remembering
they
his name.
did they
But then they add B. John Robinson. They got a whole bunch of guys. Drake London's coming back for his second year, so they got a whole lot better too. They could be in the mix. And that horrible division, that division stinks. They could come out with a whole bunch of wins just in their division. So I guess we'll see. So according to the poll, absolutely not. But I just want your take on this because you're the Giants fan, so I'm going to give you the floor. But I have a take on the Giants. Again, I'm an Eagles fan. Giants don't scare me. I don't give a shit about the Giants. I don't think about them. They're not in my dreams. I don't care. Whatever.
That's fine. That is
Here we
awesome.
go. And so this is wait. Let me just throw this at you, and you can respond with me real quick. The NFL is probably the easiest league in terms of getting to be really good to really bad and really bad to really good. You see it with Cincy. Before they had Joe Burrow, they sucked. They were horrible for that year. Then they get him, and now they're a contender. And yes, they got Jamar Chase. Well, he was hurt. I get it, but it's because of Joe Burrow. Who are you fooling? That's number one. Another great example of this is the other way around, is when LA went to the Super Bowl. And then, yeah, they completely fell apart. Now they're like one of the worst teams in the league. So it's really easy to go from A to B, B to A. You get what I'm saying? Here's what the Giants did, and this is a very questionable move, and this is why I'm not questioning the talent of Daniel Jones. I'm questioning the move of signing him to that amount of money. Let's think about this real quick. Daniel Jones is without question a middle-of-the-pack quarterback. He's not dog shit because there's a lot of bad quarterbacks in the league today, but he's definitely not elite. And I think we can all agree with that. He's a middle-of-the-pack quarterback, and they're paying a shit ton of money to him. So now that leaves you less money to pay positional players. And now the guy who is the guy on your team, the guy, you knew this was going to be a problem about a year ago, that you were going to have to pay him today at 4:00, and you couldn't get it done. What does that say about you? And it proves that, I'm going to be honest with you, you're completely a middle-of-the-pack organization going in the middle-of-the-pack line for the next 5 years. As long as Daniel Jones is under that contract, they're going to be a middle-of-the-pack team unless they get some crazy draft pick. Until they unveil some crazy draft pick that they stole from everybody. They'll make the playoffs. They're not going to suck. They're going to make the playoffs most years, but they're not going to do anything in the playoffs. They're not. I
understand, but all right. Well, first I'll unpack the Daniel Jones spiel for a little bit because I was doing some research earlier. So, in the contract year of 2023, there are, I want to say, 8 guys making more money than Daniel Jones. You got Lamar. You got Jalen Hurts. Both just got paid. Aaron Rodgers just got paid. Russell Wilson, arguable if he's better. Then you got Kyler Murray. We'll see. Deshaun Watson, Mahomes, and Josh Allen. Okay, so most of those guys you can make a case, yes, they're better than Daniel Jones. Stafford and Prescott make the same as Daniel Jones. I think we can both agree that Daniel Jones right now is better than Matt Stafford. Dak, will give an argument for.
Whoa.
Dude, Daniel Jones is without question better than Matt Stafford right now.
Whoa. That I think we need to dial it back.
Right now, 100%.
I think we need to dial it back.
100%.
If you give a
No. Let me keep going. Guys that are getting paid less than Daniel Jones. Cousins, Carr, Goff, Tannehill, Geno Smith, Jimmy Garoppolo, and then you still got guys like Lawrence and Burrow who are still on their rookie contracts waiting to get paid. Herbert also. I think Daniel Jones contract makes sense with what I just said. 100%. He's not the best quarterback. He's not the worst quarterback. And when you talk about paying a quarterback versus paying a running back, sure, Saquon Barkley, generational talent. I will say that without question. Watched him at his Penn State days. Obviously watched him in his Giants days. His rookie year was electrifying. Past couple of years with injuries, it sucked. It sucked seeing him suffer. This past year was awesome to watch him set his new career rush yards record. So, was great to see him back. But when you talk about the running back market and you say, oh, yeah, we're going to pay him $15 million a year, there are guys on the free agency market, not even just Zeke and Dalvin Cook, but guys that, like, sure, they're not going to be a franchise running back option, but they're going to give you a year or two in replacement so that maybe next year they go out and they sign a running back in the draft. You got guys like Kareem Hunt, you got David Johnson. Sure, they're not long-term replacements. That's not at all what I'm saying. I'm not justifying the not giving Saquon Barkley his money. However, giving $14 million a year to a guy that has gotten injured 3 consecutive seasons and luckily stayed healthy last year, it's a little fishy. It's not something that, I'm obviously annoyed that we're not bringing back Saquon Barkley because I love watching him. He's a great player to watch. However, it's hard to pay a running back 14 to 16 million a year.
And I can refute that, especially when, as Jake said earlier in the comments, they were $1 to $2 million off. So how far off really were you? Dude, you're not okay. Before, I also want to touch on what you said earlier about Daniel Jones being definitely better than Matthew Stafford. I don't think Matthew Stafford is miles better than Daniel Jones, but I think it's hard to say that a guy who just won Super Bowl MVP 2 years ago is automatically
washed. Dude, he couldn't do anything last year.
If he's healthy, if you give me a guaranteed season of full health and you tell me Daniel Jones can be healthy for a full season, Matthew Stafford can be healthy for a full season, who do you want right now to take me through the season? Who's giving
Matthew
me the best
Stafford's
shot?
What, 30? He's got to be 32 right now.
I don't give a shit. He's better.
You're smoking crack.
And here's a great point, and this touches on the Barkley thing and the Matthew Stafford thing. Daniel Jones, when he has a rusher that rushes for 100 or more yards in a game, okay? His win-loss record, way fucking better. His completion percentage, up by close to 7%. His touchdown and interception ratio, 10-5 to 7-1. His passer rating goes up by 35 points. Okay, you need Saquon Barkley. And I'm not like I hate 100%. when people say it's running backs. Yes, most teams like the Eagles and Miles Sanders and how about Cincy and Joe Mixon. I love Joe Mixon. I think he's a great running back. But same time, you Joe Burrow on your team, you don't need Joe Mixon. That's why he took the pay cut. He knew that. So whatever, off subject. What I'm telling you is that there are certain running backs in the NFL. There's 3 of them that come to mind. Maybe I'm forgetting one, but off the top of my head, there's 3 of them right now. Christian McCaffrey, Derrick Henry, and Saquon Barkley. Yes, they play the position of running back. However, they are completely and utterly, without question, more valuable than every other running back in the NFL because if you take them off of their respective teams, they are marginally worse. And you go across the NFL, you take Joe Mixon off the Bengals. They're not as good, but how much worse are they? Is it really worth paying him? Got it. Miles Sanders off the Eagles. they replaced him very easily with, Swift. You go across the entire league, you can do that with almost every team. The Giants is not the case. There is no excuse, none at all. And you could totally, I know you're going to agree with me on this. They knew this was going to happen for a year. They knew this, that when it came down to it, Monday, July 17th, 4 p.m. Eastern time. They knew this before last season even started. We got to get a deal done because the fans want it. We want it. He wants it. All we got to do is to get an agreement. They had that long to do it, that long to think about it, that long to prepare for it, and they couldn't do it. Wow. I mean, I'm honestly shocked.
But I'm just as shocked as you. However, now with this franchise tag, yes, $10.1 million. Yes, Saquon's like, I want a new contract. I strongly believe, and I will say this with whole heart, I strongly believe Saquon Barkley plays under the tag. Now, whether he comes back next year, whole different situation. Maybe he has another fucking great year. We realize we fucked up. Maybe he takes the contract. Maybe he doesn't. So be it. But I'm still I understand what you're saying with the Saquon Barkley being out of this world, but I'm still iffy on paying a running back. Sure, Saquon Barkley without the Giants, without him being on the Giants offense, it's a big question mark on what Daniel Jones can get done. Who's going to come out of the backfield. We got guys we have nobody in the backfield right now, and it'll be interesting. You got Matt Breida from last year, 54 carries, 220 yards. Gary Brightwell, 31 carries, 141 yards. However, I do like Eric Gray from last year. I'm not saying he's going to be a franchise running back, but, barring that Saquon Barkley doesn't play week 1, let's throw him in the fucking game. Let's see what he can do. 213 carries, 1,366 yards, 11 touchdowns. But it definitely was very hard, not seeing the Giants be aggressive. I mean, they couldn't come to an agreement with one of their franchise guy. And I'm not looking forward to this fucking season after he can't make a fucking agreement because this offense is going to be a wreck, but we'll see. Let's see if they go out and get a guy, either a high-end replacement like Dalvin Cook or Zeke, which I don't think they're going to do. They wouldn't fucking
Zeke
do that.
is no longer a high-end talent.
I'd still put him above the guys that I have as a low-end replacement like James Robinson, Kareem Hunt, Mark Ingram, Marlon Mack. However, I am agreeing.
Mark Ingram just went to Fox Sports. I think he's done.
He's done?
I think he's doing college football on TV. I think he's done.
I honestly just threw him on that list, but it'll be interesting.
One more point before we move on, if we were about to move on. I don't know where you were going with that, but one more point. I'll just add on to something I said earlier.
Yeah.
Saquon Barkley, right? No, sorry, Daniel Jones. Again, middle of the pack quarterback. We both agree on that 110%. We're on the same page. Okay, cool. Let's go across the recent Super Bowl winners that have won Super Bowls, okay? Fuck that. Let's just go who's gotten there. Let's not even say who's won. Let's just say who's gotten to that point.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, Joe Burrow, Matthew Stafford, who is not a top 3 to 5 quarterback, but that team was ridiculously talented.
Fair.
Jimmy Garoppolo, again, not a top 3 to 5 quarterback, ridiculously talented roster.
Look at their running backs.
Defensively and offense. Okay, I see what you're saying on that. But my refute to that is, who are your guys that you're saying, yeah, we're not going to give Saquon this money, but we're going to keep it? What are you keeping it for? Who are you paying on your roster right now that is more valuable to your team than Saquon? Saquon Barkley is arguably the most valuable player on your entire roster. That is the 1A. That is the first person you make happy in your entire building is Saquon Barkley. That's it, period. End of question. So you can't roll out a middle-of-the-pack quarterback with a below-talented roster, which then it is without Saquon Barkley. I like Darren Waller edition, but let's be honest. If Saquon Barkley's not playing, which I kind of agree with you, I think he will. But if he's not, Darren Waller doesn't make the Giants some threat of a quarterback. Like, I mean, he's not. So, like, can we relax? I'm done with all this, like what are they doing with this money that they're saving $1 to $2 million on?
They're gonna have to pay their guys. You're paying Andrew Thomas down the line. Andrew Thomas right now is a top 10 tackle in the league.
I'm not shitting on Andrew Thomas or anyone that they might want to pay.
But if you pay Saquon Barkley,
cut some other bum that doesn't deserve the $1 to $2 million and pay the guy that's fucking gotten you here. You don't win that playoff game without Saquon Barkley. Where are you without Saquon Barkley? And that's not a shot. That's a fact. I'm an Eagles fan. I don't want Saquon Barkley on your team. That is ridiculous that they won't do whatever it takes to get him back. Utterly ridiculous.
I mean, it's just like it's so unjustifiable if he does sit out because the last guy that comes to mind when I think that sat out, Le'Veon Bell. Bell, after he sat out, he went to shit.
I was just having this conversation.
Saquon Barkley, if you see this, please do not sit out. Like,
I don't
regardless of if you're coming back to the Giants, don't sit out. Play this year. Go get your money elsewhere. Like, I've come to the realization that you're probably not coming back. Please don't let your fucking career go to waste.
I don't think he will, but I also 2 points on that. Number one is Saquon. I believe. Well, first of all, I believe he will play. I don't think it's like the Le'Veon situation.
I don't think.
And I also the Le'Veon situation. People forget. Yet he was horrible when he came back. There's no doubt about it. But he did get paid. He got what he wanted in terms of money wise. He got what he wanted. He didn't deserve it because he played like shit. But he got the money that he sought out for. He ended up getting it. The other thing is that the team he was on was different. He had Antonio Brown, Ben Roethlisberger. I mean, wasn't all that great, but they had a better roster around Le'Veon Bell than I would say the Giants do right now. I think Saquon Barkley is more value to the Giants than Le'Veon Bell did. And that's not this. I understand Le'Veon Bell was unbelievable. He's one of the best talents in the league at that point. But I think Saquon right now is more talented and more valuable to his team than maybe Le'Veon was, just because of, I mean, they had Antonio Brown. So I could see why them to be like, fuck you, we're not giving you like $60 million or whatever he got. Like, I understand that.
Yeah. All right. Let's stop this fucking talk before I actually get like punch a fucking hole in the wall. I'm so angry still. Let's get into your Eagles talk. What you got?
Nothing much. I just want to throw out there. There are a lot of people right now saying that, given the repeat winner in the division stuff, and yeah, that scares me. There hasn't been a repeat winner in division since like 2004. That's kind of scary. I'm not going to lie. It's weird how it can last that long. However, I think people are really forgetting the value of having a top 3 to 5 quarterback in the league on your team. Every single time we roll onto the field, unless we're playing Patrick Mahomes or unless we're playing Joe Burrow or Josh Allen.
Rodgers.
Not Rodgers.
Rodgers.
Maybe Rodgers. He's got to show it to me. They can still do it. I think he will. I'm a big Rodgers guy.
I'll give you the top 5. Top 3, I'm not budging.
No. I don't think he's top 3 either. But I mean, there's some enthusiasts that OD a little bit, but not me. That especially when you look at the NFC. I mean, Eagle fans should feel very, very good and very confident about what's to look forward, because we have that on our team right now. And so when I think people are diminishing the value of having that, it's hard to get back to a Super Bowl. I'm not diminishing that. I'm not undervaluing that. But at the same time, you got to look at it and be like, well, They have one of the more talented rosters on the team, in the league, I'm sorry, and they have one of the better quarterback talents in the entire league. And if you're not a believer in Jalen Hurts, do me a favor, because I did this yesterday. I had the guts to rewatch some Super Bowl stuff from last year. Outside of that one fumble he had, and that was a big play, I'm not underestimating it, but at the same time, he was unbelievable in that game. They had no shot. The throws he was making in that second half and even the first half, unbelievable stuff. They were nowhere close in that game. If it weren't for him, he went toe-to-toe for Patrick Mahomes at the very end. It took a flag. I'm not saying it wasn't a flag. It was a flag. But he didn't get a chance to go out there and, retaliate and get the ball back. Who knows what would have happened. But I'm feeling pretty damn good. That's pretty much the Eagles talk of the day for me.
I definitely agree. The only question I have for you guys, and it's been consistent, but it's the O-line play. Sure, you got Kelsey and you got Lane Johnson. Don't get me wrong, they are top talents at their position. They might even be at like the top. However, they are getting older, and it's not. I'm not saying that they're not going to be producing. I'm just saying, when are these guys going to drop off? Is it going to be this year, 5 years down the line?
Let me tell you something, okay? Number one, Jason Kelsey is heads and shoulders, leaps and bounds the best center in the league right now. That's number one. So even if he were to fall off a little bit, he's still a top center in the league. That's one. Two, right tackle, it's not close, but tackle, it's him or Trent Williams. Lane Johnson is the best top 1 to 2 tackles in the entire league. He hasn't allowed a sack in 2 years. So if he slips off a little bit, he's still one of the best tackles in the league. So I'm not concerned with that. Mailata hasn't even reached his, he just started playing football 3 years ago. He's only going to get better. Landon Dickerson, very young talent, very, very good. And right guard's a question. Not going to lie to you. I don't even know, is Cam Jurgens, I guess, is going to play. So I guess we'll see what he's like. That's the question in terms of the O-line, is right guard. But I think that in terms of that, I feel like that's probably the easiest spot to hide, and it's not a blind spot, and it's in the interior. You're not getting anything off the edge, so I'm not overly concerned. Plus, the Eagles, if there's one thing they do well, is develop offensive linemen, so I'm not overly concerned. The one concern I do have, two concerns, is linebacker and safety. They lost both their linebackers in free agency. They lost both their safeties in free agency, so that's a whole lot of new. So I guess we'll see there. But yeah, I'm not appreciating this average quarterback talk in the chat. I mean, that is utterly ridiculous. Do me a favor and watch the Super Bowl again, and then get back to me if he's an average quarterback. Because the throws he was making, the plays he was making with his legs, he broke the damn record for most touchdown rushes in a Super Bowl. He was toe-to-toe. Here's the other thing. He lost the game. And months removed, this might seem like a stupid statement, but if you go back and really watch the game, he was by far the best player on the field that day. By far. If the defense had a pulse, he'd have a Super Bowl ring right now. Period. So, can we stop with this average quarterback shit? He still put up 35 points, and he did it all pretty much. Yes, very talented roster, no doubt about it. But now I have to sit back and be like, well, because he's such a talented roster, I have to automatically assume he's an average quarterback. No. He made the playoffs with an average roster. He did that 2 years ago. We made the playoffs. We got smoked. But, I mean, come on. Average, that is ridiculous. Let's relax. He was the best player on the biggest stage in the sport. Patrick Mahomes is a better player than him. I'm not saying anything like that. Do me a favor. Go back and watch the game. Jalen Hurts made way more plays than Patrick Mahomes. They killed us on the ground. Patrick Mahomes wasn't picking us apart like we thought he might do. It wasn't like that. They were running it right down our gut. That's what it was.
Second half.
I'm not saying he played like shit.
No, 100%.
I'm just saying that if you really, again, do me a favor and look at it again before you reply. But he was the best player on the field. And I feel bad for him because Jonathan Gannon robbed him of a Super Bowl ring. We'd have one right now. So Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. All right. Any more Eagles talk, or should we head to commercial break?
Let's head to it.
All right, let's head to the commercial break.
Hey, Birds fans, the NFL schedule has arrived and Philly Sports Trips has all the details now. Visit the site phillysportstrips.com. This is sure to be an epic season. Be sure to go there now to make sure that you don't get shut out. Join us in Tampa, LA, Seattle, or when we get revenge in Kansas City. Don't want to fly? No problem. Gather up your crew and hop aboard one of our signature boisterous bus trips to DC or New York. Sign up now and make sure to mention A2D. Don't miss out on the best Philly fan experience anywhere. Philly Sports Trip customers always stay at the best hotels and meet NFL legends. Book today.
Thank you, Philly Sports Trips. All right, let's get into some Phillies and Mets predictions. So, came back from the All-Star break this week. Phillies was a 4-game series, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Yeah, so Phillies
Doubleheader.
four-game series, Mets 3 games. I'll get into the Mets, and then Lee can get into the Phillies, and then I'll have a little bit more to say. However, Mets came back Friday. Absolute dog shit performance by Justin Verlander. I think he had 6 walks, and the bullpen had another 6, so 12 walks. They lost the game 6-0. Saturday, it's 1-1 going into the 8th. Ottavino comes in, lets up a run, whatnot. We're down 2-1, and then we have Hartwig and Leone come in, or Hartwig come in and just blew this shit up. I mean, this team, like, we're headed in the wrong direction, and I'll get to it in a little bit. But then yesterday, Scherzer 7 innings, 6 Ks, 3 walks. Pretty good performance. And then Guillorme with the walk off in the 9th. Quick stat, real quick, from since the All-Star break, Lindor, Alonso, and McNeil, McNeil I think was batting 326. Lindor is on a $340 million contract, and Alonso might get paid. There's rumors that he actually might get, or they've been denying that they're going to trade him. But that's 2 for 29 since the All-Star break. That is atrocious. You talk about the 3 of the 4 guys that lead your team, and they're 2 for 29. That's awful. So I hope Buck Showalter is no longer the Mets manager after this year, or even during this year. I hope they fucking fire him. I was talking about this with my grandfather. Literally, every manager, they celebrate when they do something, when their team does something good. Buck Showalter just looks at the fence and like he has dementia or something, and
Too old, dude.
doesn't realize what's going on. Exactly, his time is over. But I'm really hoping the Mets sell at the deadline. They got a couple pieces. You got Robertson, who has a 1.96 ERA. I didn't even realize this. I was scrolling through Twitter today. 1.96 ERA. He's been lights out. He got the win yesterday. Came in the 10th, or in the 9th actually. And also shut him down in the 10th, which was good to see. Trevor Gott came in the 8th yesterday and almost blew the game for us. But yeah, so I mean, I'm hoping they get rid of Robertson, as much as I'd hate to see him go, and as much as him and Diaz would be a lights out tandem, and then you even would have Ottavino in the 7th. Another guy on the move that I wouldn't be surprised if he moves is Tommy Pham. He's been batting about 280 since being in the starting lineup about a month ago. He was just being put in the starting lineup. He's on the IL right now, or I don't even know if he's on the IL. He's been sitting on the bench, but we haven't been using him. Another outfielder, maybe Marcano's on the move. A lot of teams are looking for a corner outfielder, so I expect those 2 guys. And then a low guy on the radar that I wouldn't expect to move, but I also wouldn't be surprised, is our backup catcher, Omar Narvaez. He has been dog shit this season, sitting behind Alvarez, but we'll see if they move him and, bring back up fucking Nito. I really hope they don't bring back up Nito. And then we'll see if they move the fucking guys that should be in a retirement home. I mean, you got Verlander and Scherzer. Scherzer's been mounds and leaps better against better than Verlander this season, in my opinion. And there has been that rumors that they're not going to move him, but I also wouldn't be surprised. And then also another long shot is Alonso. They did turn down that they're not going to be listening to trade offers, but who knows? Everything's all rumors nowadays. I don't even listen to the media, but it'll be interesting to see what they do. My end of the season prediction. I want to say they're about 7 under 500. I think they'll probably finish about 7-5, anywhere from like 4 to 8 games under 500. I haven't looked too much at the schedule ahead. I know we have the White Sox and the Red Sox this week, so it'll be an interesting road trip. But let's hope they can, maybe squeeze out a couple and maybe go on a run. But I don't have too much optimism being a Mets fan right now. Luke, what is your news on the Phillies?
Yeah, but touch on the Mets for a second. I hope for your sake that this owner swallows his pride and sells. It's better off. Another way of looking at it, which I thought of today, it's pretty interesting. In terms of selling, there's not a better time to do it than right now, especially when a lot of your fan base, in terms of how you're selling off and things like that, there's no reason to hold on for dear life like this, especially at a time like right now, because the Jets are, I mean, they're on Hard Knocks. You got A-Rod in there. I mean, you got, like, they're the talk of the entire country right now. If you're talking on sports show, you're talking about the Jets pretty much every damn day. So if I'm the owner, I'm saying, you know what? It's for the betterment of my team. It's for the betterment of my organization. And you could sell it to the fans because once training camp starts for the Jets, I mean, no offense, no one's really going to give a shit about the Mets anymore the way it's going right now. So sell it off. One of Verlander or Scherzer probably should go realistically.
I think realistically they get Scherzer gone, but
I think he's easier to trade. I don't think there's any doubt about that.
Nobody wants Verlander. I want to say he has like a 4.6 ERA right now. Like nobody.
So it's he's got to swallow his pride and kind of sell the best he can smartly. So yeah, I guess we'll see. But in terms of the Phillies, they are one of the hotter teams in baseball right now. I believe since the last 36 games, they have the second best record in the entire league.
24 and 12, 25 and 24 and 12, actually. Yeah.
They have the second best record in the league, only trailing the Braves, which of course has to be in their division, and they'll never win the division because they're a dynasty and they'll be good for the next forever. They'll always be good. So whatever. But I mean, you look at it right now, there's not many more fun teams to root for right now than the Philadelphia Phillies. They're hot. And in terms of the series, I get it. It's one series, so you can't overreact. It's such a long season. But Kyle Schwarber was very, very, very good in that series. He looked like a complete different player, a player like last year. He hit 2 bombs. He hit an RBI to win it the other game. Trey Turner looked a little bit better. Defensively, he looked way better. He made a ton of big plays, especially the other day. Another thing you look at, how about, Castellanos kind of on the other side. He kind of fell off a little bit, but again, one series, you can't overreact. Bryce Harper looking like he's going to come back on the field soon, so that's pretty exciting.
I heard first it's the Brewers.
Right, yeah, first base tomorrow. I think he starts on first base. I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure that's right. But yeah, very very good time to be a Phillies fan right now. And I'll throw this at you, not because I think it's going to happen, but because this is what Phillies Twitter is all up in arms about right now, is the Ohtani thing. I think any team with a pulse thinks that they should get Ohtani. So I'll say this. I think that I wouldn't be like, sell the farm and just get Ohtani, whatever it takes, because you still have Atlanta in your division and you still have them in the NL. So I wouldn't be like, let's go all in this year. I wouldn't do that. However, I would really consider putting a pretty hefty offer together because your starting pitching this year hasn't been all that great. Ohtani's probably going to be the best pitcher on your roster, and he's the best hitter on the roster. Obviously, he'd be the best player, no doubt. Bryce Harper's a beast too. But, yeah, I feel like you have to consider it at least. I wouldn't go sell everyone to go get it. But I also think any team that thinks they have any shot at the World Series is having the same conversation right now.
Even teams without the World Series, dude. I wouldn't be surprised to not I think the two teams I saw that are like interested, and I bet it's probably 15 teams that are interested. But I
Oh
saw
yeah, I mean, I'm only mentioning the Phillies because literally, like Phillies Twitter is like, we got like, what should we do? Otani, 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 and I'm like, let's relax. But if you add him to that pitching group, and everyone then slides down one, and
it
then Wheeler's
it
your
would be crazy.
Wheeler's your second guy, Nola's your third, who Nola's not
Walker's
really.
4, and then you have Suarez at the back end of the
I
rotation.
mean, yeah,
Pretty good,
that's pretty
pretty
damn.
fucking
But the other
good
the other
rotation.
thing is like Nola hasn't really been all too good this year, so you can expect less out of him. Wheeler hasn't been up to his standards that great, so you expect less out of him. I mean, it's something to consider. I'm not saying that they should again,
Yeah.
do whatever it takes because it's going to be a pretty hefty bunch to go get him. But consider it. I wouldn't be all too surprised, but it also wouldn't surprise me if Brian Cashman's getting all this heat right now from Yankee fans, and he stupidly goes trades for him. And who cares? They're not doing shit anyway. They stink. But all right, let's move on. Then enough
Well, no,
baseball.
I have some guys that the Phillies might be looking to buy at the deadline, since I consider them a buyer at the deadline.
Oh, no doubt.
They got you got a hole in the corner outfield right now. You got Schwarber out there and left. You got Marsh, Pache's on the dish right now, and then you got Castellanos in the right. So you gotta get Schwarber out of the outfield. That's why they're gonna play Bryce Harper at first, and then Boom will be at third. Which it'll be a very interesting lineup.
How
So
about
if you
Rojas? He had came out
he
of nowhere, breath of fresh. I mean, I'm not saying he should start on a World Series roster, but he's in terms of a young player that they just brought up off their bench. I mean, he looked pretty promising. He looked pretty
sure.
good. Huge
So
arm.
yeah, so if they're looking into a corner outfielder, a big name, and I've seen a lot of rumors, and again, rumors, don't believe anything.
Right.
Cody Bellinger, he's had a pretty good resurgence on the Cubs this year. It wouldn't be shocking if the Phillies, made a run at him. A guy like Will Myers on the Reds, hasn't gotten too much tick right now with their they got a lot of young bucks and Joey Votto coming back. So he hasn't gotten too much time. And then a guy at the back end of the bullpen that you could look into, Giolito of the White Sox. I think he has a 3.65. And then Jack Flaherty, who they have Wainwright. The Cardinals have Wainwright. They have Michael List. Jack Flaherty's probably been the best pitcher for the Cardinals right now. So he'll probably be on the move. And then some long shots. Again, I wouldn't expect these guys to move, but at the same time, it wouldn't surprise me. Dylan Cease of the White Sox was a Cy Young candidate last year. Soto, there's been rumors of Soto moving. I don't see the Phillies making a shot at him, but
Why would the Reds really sell like that? Aren't they like kind of trending upwards?
the Reds for Will Myers.
Right. I was just hitting me right now.
I mean, Will Myers. I don't even know if Will Myers is like. I think Will Myers might even be in the minors right now or on the IL.
Right.
But no, they have a bunch of young talent, and he's more of one of the older guys.
Right.
Then you also got Yelich. I haven't seen Yelich rumors too much, but he was just a guy I thought of. Stroman of the Cubs, and then it would be very surprising if if the Mets traded their corner outfielder, either Tommy Pham or Mark Canha, to the Phillies. But those are some guys to be on the lookout for the Phillies. But let's get into your James Harden talk, and we also got some Embiid talk after today on Twitter.
Hell yeah, that was
Active.
unexpected. Didn't get to add it to the ticker today, but
Yeah, I know
we'll touch on it.
It was very interesting, but you can start off.
I'll just go with James Harden a little bit, not too much now that the Embiid news is taking over the Sixers world. But in terms of Harden, I think that people are starting to get a gauge, and something just came out that his relationship with Daryl Morey is like flustered, or my boy Shams, that's what he said. They're not getting along anymore. I have one thing to say about this. When he first of all, Houston offered him a boatload of money before he requested out of there. He got out of that contract. He left. Okay, cool. Then he's on Brooklyn. The thing to remember is that when he first wanted out of Houston, his first choice was to come here. It wasn't Brooklyn. Brooklyn was on the list, but he let it be known that this is where he wanted to go. The only reason that didn't happen was because Daryl Morey just ditched the Rockets and they didn't want to trade him back to Daryl Morey and just do Daryl Morey a solid. That's the only reason that he didn't come here 2 years earlier. Whatever, let's move on. What's going on with James Harden right now has absolutely nothing to do with basketball. Nothing. Not a thing. He doesn't want out because of Embiid. He doesn't want out to do anything to do with Tobias Harris, Maxey, nothing like that whatsoever. In fact, what happened was, I don't know if you knew this. I like to throw the plus minus in the playoff stat out a lot. I went a little deeper. You know what's even crazier than this minus 23 the last 2 years? This is nuts. You know what his plus minus was in the playoffs this year alone? Just this year.
Was it worse than minus 23? I'm going to guess like minus 37.
Minus 40. He was a minus 40 in the playoffs. So you know what? Yeah, he had this handshaking agreement. And he came here because he knew not only was he going to win here, and this was his best chance to win here, he came here because he saw his boy was here. That's the only reason. That's number one. And he knew that if he came here and he won, or if he came here and he was a minus 40 in the playoff for 1 year and sucked ass the way that he did, that he was going to get his bag no matter what, because his boy was just going to fend it off to him. That's why he came here. That's it. What happened? He did that, and Daryl Morey said to himself, well, damn, I have a job to do myself. I don't want to get fired. If I sign James Harden to 4 years, no one in the fan base is going to respect me. No one in ownership is going to respect me. I'm going to get fired because that is damn sure not the right thing to do. So you know what he did? He said, all right, James, I know I said this to you, but tough shit, time to move on. I'm not giving you this money. What is James Harden's next move? What is the next thing that James Harden decides to do for himself? Notice how he doesn't come out with a list of teams to say, I want to go to – first it was Houston because he was familiar with people there and it came out in Christmas. Why? Because he thought, hey, I could play like shit in the playoffs. And I think he started to get a sense, maybe Daryl won't pay me all this money for 4 years. Maybe I need to fend for myself. So he created this Houston rumor with all his boys. He thought he'd get paid there. He realized, well, Houston's not going to pay me either. So then what's his next move? It's not Miami. It's not Toronto. It's not Chicago. It's not all these teams that have been the Knicks slightly rumored to be a little bit interested in. The only team, the one and only team that he wants to play for, he says, I will play on that team next season or I will not play. The one team is the Los Angeles Clippers. Why? Why do you think he wants to get traded to Los Angeles? One, I think
the spotlight.
That was one reason I was going to say.
Spotlight, and then you're surrounded. I mean, their roster is up and coming.
It's an excuse for him to say he's going to win. We both know they will not stay healthy. It hasn't worked for 4 years. It won't work again. James Harden himself, absolute bum in the playoffs for the last 5 years. Not 2 years. We'll go there. The reason he's going to the Clippers is because he sees an owner with a boatload of cash who will do whatever it takes with his new arena and being compared to the Lakers, all this shit. He will do whatever it takes to promote his product. That is it. He sees an owner with a boatload of cash. You didn't hear the Clippers in Christmas when the Rocket shit came out. You didn't hear the Clippers stuff at the end of the season when it started to come out that he wanted out because he always thought that Daryl Morey would hand over his cash. When does the Clippers hit the news? When does this come out? When he has no other option.
Interest.
No other option. Why? Because there is not another team in the entire league in the right fucking mind that would pay him the money that the Clippers are willing to do. It has nothing to do with basketball. It has nothing to do with winning. It's just because he wants his bag and he should have taken it years ago and he didn't. And now he's going to fend up for himself and take it with the Clippers. That is it. Now, as a Sixers fan, I've said this before. I don't need Paul George back. You're not going to get Paul George back. There's no chance that happens. But I don't need Paul George back. I don't want Zach LaVine. I don't obviously I'd want Damian Lillard, but that shit's not going to happen. So Give me Terrence Mann, Norman Powell, and draft picks. I'm cool. I'm totally fine with that. Get some bum fat loser out of here. I don't want to watch him play. I don't want to care about him playing. I'm done. We're past this bridge. Bye, peace, see ya. Get your bag in LA. The Clippers. Charles Barkley says an unbelievable quote. You know what he says? I've been fat. I've been skinny. I've been athletic. I've been a damn fool. The Clippers have always sucked. Go to the Clippers. Have a damn good time. You'll never be the Lakers. You'll never be Showtime. Have a good time. Get your bag. Have fun. Peace. See ya. Nice knowing you. Get the hell out of here.
Yeah, nah, it's interesting to see what the Sixers do. You know, they didn't want to pay him, and I have no complaints that they didn't want to pay him. Even as a Knicks fan, I don't think he deserves the pay the bag. You know, he's sold for them in the playoffs. You're not gonna. He's
Minus
not
40.
He's
Wait.
he's
Could we go deeper on this for 2 seconds? I
Go
won't.
right ahead.
I won't
Go right
over.
ahead.
I won't cut you off.
No, you're good.
This includes a series in which he played every game that we swept. We swept the Nets. We didn't even lose a game in that series. And we won 3 games against Boston. And he found a way to be a minus 40. I mean, that is unbelievable. How do you sweep? You play 2 series, one of which that you completely swept. You swept. And the next one, you won as many games as you can in terms of not winning it. And they won 7 games, which is as much as you can win to go 2 rounds and not go further. And he was a minus 40. Are you fucking kidding me? Like, what? That is hard to do. That is hard to do. My God. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to pay a guy that, you know, you expected so much out of him. They expected them to go to the championship, you know, maybe even win a title. And this guy who has had success in previous years, I won't say great success, but he's had good success in Houston. He wasn't too good on Brooklyn, but he wasn't as bad as he was in Philly, in my opinion.
Right.
But it's just you can't pay him, and now they're stuck with him because you have one suitor of a trade. You're not getting any star power back, which sure, you don't need any more star power. I truly believe, even as a Knicks fan, Tyrese Maxey is going to strive with the ball. I truly believe that. I think he's going to be.
100%.
I think he's going to be a great point guard. I think he might even be a top 10 point guard first year when he has the ball in his hands a lot. And you also have MVP of Embiid and Tobias Harris. You know, people forget about Tobias Harris, and sure, he gets a lot of hate. He's not all that bad. He produces when you need him to, and sure, he likes to have the ball in his hands a little bit too much, but take the ball out of his hands and he's really not all that bad. So if you get, like Luke said, if you get Norman Powell, Terrence Mann, even if they trade, you know, let's say they get Marcus Morris or Robert Covington, that's still a win for the Sixers. Okay, the Sixers don't have much on their bench. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, they lost.
Melton is
Right.
gone. You have Paul Reed. You have Bamba. You have Harrell. What do they still have Korkmaz. Who else do they even have off the bench?
First of all, shout out Furkan Korkmaz, made NBA history, the first silent trade request in the history of the NBA. I've never seen somebody demand to get traded and no one talk about it. That happened like months ago, and no one's talked about it. We'll probably find a way to extend him. I mean, it's unbelievable how he still finds a way to be on the team. Go ahead.
No, but who else is on the bench is what I was saying.
Nobody.
That it. Okay. So
I don't think you missed anybody.
No, so I missed Melton, who's in the starting lineup.
Wait, he's in the starting lineup now, as of right now.
Yeah.
If
So
Harden's gone.
let's say you dish Harden and you get a lot of bench assets. You're not only improving in the starting lineup, which people will say, "Oh, you're not improving. You're losing James Harden." You're improving the starting lineup because you're getting the ball out of his hands, and like Luke said, minus 40 in the playoffs. You're also getting bench help that is very necessary right now.
Yeah, dude, look across the entire NBA right now. Look at it. I'll tell you right now, This fake shit that the Suns call a bench, that ain't gonna work. That's not gonna cut it unless they make trades or something. Like I love when people are like Bol Bol. Oh my god, they got Bol Bol, dude. Bol Bol stinks. If he were really that good, he wouldn't sign
He wouldn't
for.
be on 3 different teams. He went from the Nuggets.
He wouldn't
to the
go
Magic
for a
to
minimum.
the
He
Suns.
wouldn't go for a minimum right now if he were all that fucking good. So can we relax? That's not going to work unless they trade it. They can still change my opinion on that if they make more moves. But as of today, they're not winning a title. Plain and simple. Why
Super teams never work.
Why do Sixer fans find the need on Twitter all the time to be like to assemble an all-star team? Oh my God, Levine! Can we get Levine? Can we get it's been Dame, it's been Levine, it's been DeMar DeRozan. It's like anyone who's like remotely could be traded and is somewhat above average in terms of a ball dominant player. We have to have them. That's not how you win. Look at the Nuggets. They have an MVP, a very good player, and great role players. Aaron Gordon is not some all-star. You saw in Orlando, he's not. He's a really, really good role player. I think Tobias Harris can be that for you. Mm-hmm. You look at the Warriors a few years ago. Andrew Wiggins in Minnesota was not good. He goes there. He's a really, really good role player. Played a huge role in them winning that title. Steph Curry's a beast. I'm not going to sit up here and trash Klay Thompson, but we don't look at Klay Thompson as an all-time great if he doesn't play along Steph Curry's whole career. Same with Draymond Green. So as much as they were in all-star games throughout their career, they're not in those without Steph Curry. Let's be completely honest. So yes, it's a super team because they're amazing. They're superstars in their roles. So can we not assemble an all-star team, please? Can we build a roster? And I think that's what Daryl Morey's leaning to. At least I hope. But I guess time will tell.
Yeah. Let's go into these Embiid tweets. You were sending me them. I was a little confused at first because his Twitter is Joel Troel Embiid, and I was like, dude, is this like a burner, or is this like Embiid?
No, well, it's been like that for like 2 years now.
Yeah. But no, you can jump in on this if you want to.
Give me the floor.
Yeah, the floor is yours.
Wow. All right. I have a lot to say about this. And honestly, if I wouldn't have much to say at all if he just said that and then there wasn't much reply. It's not his comments that are really ticking me off. What's ticking me off is these idiot fans that have the audacity to feel any which way that would banish or kind of diminish the value or the mindset of Joel Embiid. Like, are we fucking... I came up with a list. This is how crazy this is. I had to come up with a list of things. People say the superstars are weak now. They deal with shit and they don't want to deal with it, so they get the hell out of there. How about this? How about this whole list of things? You tell me how many superstars would go through this. First of all, he came in with a shit ton of injuries, okay? He fought through them. People thought he'd be Greg Oden and he would never play. Got through that. He started playing. His brother passed away and died. He was an emotional wreck. He came on the court, still played, and played at a very high level at given the time, and it was a rookie and it was a young age. He played pretty well. It gave us a reason to be like, wow, this guy's pretty fucking good. He dealt with Brett Brown all those years. He was a horrendous coach. All fans did. Brett Brown. That's all people did. No, nothing about Joel Embiid. All Brett Brown. Him. Nerlens Noel, that was his boy. He did not want him to get traded. He wanted to back him up, and Nerlens Noel wanted to stay. They let him go, and Embiid was not thrilled about that. Then, with Noel and Embiid on the team, what do? They draft Okafor over Porzingis and a bunch of other guys that they could have gotten. No, they chose Jahlil fucking Okafor with two centers already on their team. That's another thing that they did. How about the Markelle Fultz thing? No one really talks about that much anymore because he's actually turned into a pretty solid player. They drafted him over Tatum, over a whole bunch of guys that they could have gotten. And they didn't want him. That's a whole other topic of debate. They traded a pick to go up to get him. How about Colangelo? Talk about something no one talks about. This guy was the GM of your team, representing your team, making moves for your team. He was making a burner account talking shit about the players that he got on the team. He made the moves, and he was talking shit on the players that he had. Oh, my God. And then he blamed his wife for the whole fucking thing. And Embiid dealt with that. He came out with a statement, and he came back the next year and balled out. Then Jimmy Butler. He wanted them to re-sign him. and they didn't. And he was all ticked off about that. He stayed. He didn't say a word about requesting a trade. J.J. Redick, same thing. He wanted him back. J.J. Redick had the best years of his career here. Embiid wanted him back. They let him walk. They didn't even talk to him in free agency. Came back, no problem. Al Horford. Oh, my God. We signed Al Horford. You didn't learn from the Okafor thing, so you brought another big doofus in here to play alongside Joel Embiid. That shit didn't work either. And they signed him to a big old contract, a mess. And you didn't hear a word about him requesting a trade. Nothing. Then Tobias Harris. You gave it all we hear about. Tobias Harris contract. We've dealt with it for 5 years. It's held us back contractually for 5 years. We haven't been able to improve the roster. It's been a huge liability for us in terms of all-season play. And he still hasn't requested a trade. Then the icing on the cake. My God, Ben Simmons. This was a fucking, keeping up with the Kardashians doesn't do shit to Ben Simmons. This was unbelievable, the shit that he was pulling. His boy, he didn't want to take accountability for what he didn't do in the playoffs. He hit a dunk. He passed it off to Matisse Thybulle. We lost Game 7 against the Hawks. And he still didn't request a trade. You know what he did? He came back the next year, and he put up an MVP caliber year. Arguably, in my opinion, I think he deserved the MVP more that year than this year. And he still didn't request a trade. Then what do? Now we're in the middle of this whole Harden thing. And he doesn't want to come back, whatever. And they fire Doc Rivers. And now you hear a little inkling. Not I want to get out of here. Not I want to request a trade. Not any of that. A little thing that might point to him wanting out in the future. And he didn't even do that. All he did was put on the Sixers and Daryl Morey. You're on the clock. I'm getting sick of this shit. I've been compared to Jokic my entire career. I just saw him win one. I'm tired of dealing with this shit. No one else does. No one else in the entire league deals with the amount of list of shit that he had to put up. That is unreal, the amount of things I just put up. No superstar in the entire league puts up with that shit. I'm not saying no superstar deals with the amount of adversity. That's a complete other discussion. In terms of organizational failures, no player in the entire league has dealt with what he has gone through. So for you as a Sixers fan to sit up here and be like, oh my God, this guy is a weak piece of shit. How could he ever request a trade? Why can't he take accountability? Let me tell you something. Am I happy that he's going on Twitter? Is it the most mature way about going through things? No. Am I happy that he's not the greatest playoff performer and his stats do dip in the playoffs? I'm not thrilled about that. Yes, I could expect more out of him. But that does not mean that I want to trade him. And that does not mean that all of a sudden when he gets a little pissed off that I'm going to be like, fucking Embiid. What planet are we on? If you had to deal with the shit that he dealt with, you would want out 10 years ago. This is ridiculous. This is utterly absurd. Yes, if you want to talk about him wanting out, talk about it all you want. But put some goddamn respect on the MVP of the damn league. Can we fucking relax, please? My God. Show some damn respect. Where would we be right now if it weren't for him? Where? Honestly, tell me, because I have no idea. And it scares the shit out of me if the day he leaves. All you idiots that want to trade him out there, what will we be if he's not on our roster? Absolutely, positively nowhere. I love Maxey. There's not a bigger Maxey guy than me. You can ask Jordan about that. I am a huge Maxey guy, huge believer. It doesn't get much better than that. But these people like build around Maxey. You have the MVP on your team. What? You think, is Maxey going to be the MVP of the league? Probably not. So we're going to trade the MVP of the league to build around Max. Like, oh my God, cut me a damn break. Jesus Christ. And that does not mean in the same breath I can't say that I expect more out of Embiid, because I do. But that doesn't mean I'm going to trade him for nothing. That is ridiculous. So all you people on YouTube and Twitter or whatever, I hope you're watching this shit. Calm down, please. My God. Can we relax with this trade Embiid? Because he said he finally, after 10 years of bullshit and Kardashian drama, that finally he says one thing of giving the organization a little bit of pressure to make him want to win. Jesus God, I'm done. That was ridiculous.
It was just like it was crazy that what you're saying, after all this time, after all the bullshit he's been through, he hasn't said a thing, and then finally he says something, and like this, your fan base just goes nuts. I mean,
It's ridiculous.
it's every single Phillies sports fan base though. You get
Yeah,
a
but
little
all right,
you
all
get
right.
a little inkling of something,
Right.
and you run with it. They
Right.
run with it.
Right. And
Every
I'm
single fan base.
exactly, and I'm very happy you brought that up because I'm going to ask you this hypothetical question. Would Bryce Harper or Jalen Hurts, with the current states of their current organizations that they play for, would they ever say that?
Jalen Hurts,
Absolutely not.
Jalen Hurts, hell no. Bryce Harper,
He
I'm
was
not
just in
gonna
the World Series. He would
I'm
never
not
say
gonna
that.
say I'm no. I wasn't gonna say he would say that. It wouldn't surprise me down the line if he's like, but right now, absolutely not.
No chance.
But it was mind boggling, and
So
then
so
he called Maury a clown. I mean, like,
all
what are you
this is
doing?
what people don't understand. People want to take this and make it way bigger than it is. All he's doing is he's saying, I'm tired of dealing with the list of shit I just brought up. I'm tired of dealing with it. All I'm doing is I'm saying you're on the clock. Something's got to happen. That's it. That's it. That's all he said. That doesn't mean he wants out. And that sure as hell does not mean he wants to get traded. And for damn sure, that does not mean that should give you the right as a Sixers fan to, if you watch the games, you wouldn't think for 2 seconds to trade Joel Embiid. I mean, are
100%.
you kidding me? What planet are we on right now? Can we relax? My God.
Is this your boy in the comments? I trade Pittman and Tyler Boyd and I get Collins. Should I do
No,
it?
I don't know who that is, but I would let me answer that question for you. I mean, are you drafting fantasy already? It's kind of early, my
Yeah,
guy.
that is crazy.
Kind of early. We were gonna get in fantasy like in future weeks. It's pretty fucking early. But and I get no. If you're getting Godwin, no, I would not do it. No.
All right. Let's get into the shout out of the week, and then we'll wrap it up and get a little preview for next week. So shout out of the week. Not much sports going on. So what I have been watching is tennis.
Oh
Shout out my
wow!
boy.
No way! I can't believe this.
No way I stole your shout out of
I
the week.
thought there was no way you were going
Oh,
there.
dude. I'll give this and another one, but first shout out is gonna go to Alcaraz. I have been watching a good amount of tennis. I was watching this guy, Djokovic, just a master on the grass, and the young buck Alcaraz. I think he's 21, almost 22. Comes in and beats him in 5 sets, after getting beat 6-1 in the first set. You would have thought there was no chance Alcaraz was coming back. But the fact that he did it against Djokovic was just crazy. And then my second shout out, I got to think of something. Second shout out is going to have to go to Saquon Barkley. I hate to say this, but
Wow! What? I did not see this
hate
one.
to say this, it hurts that the Giants, they didn't sign him, but shout out to Saquon Barkley for holding true to his words, not budging at all. Giants organization should have budged, didn't budge, but Saquon Barkley not budging
I don't
is
believe
just
a word you're saying right now. You're just blowing him, so you pray he hears this so he comes back. I don't believe
I really hope he does come back.
I don't believe a word
And
you're
I hope
saying
he
right now.
does hear this. But yeah, shout out to you for staying loyal to your word, and that you're gonna you want 14 to 60 million a year. And I didn't even know that they were coming in with 1 to 2 million of gap in between, that the Giants couldn't have gotten their negotiation and just said fuck it, let's give this guy 1 to 2 million, let's cut some fucking bum. But it's not gonna be easy sleeping tonight, is what I'm gonna say. It sucks, not knowing that Saquon Barkley might not even play. He's my favorite player to watch. He's, like I've said, I've been watching him since his Penn State days. Well, I'll probably watch some Saquon highlights tonight to put me to bed, and that'll be that. But yeah, shout out to Saquon Barkley and Alcaraz. But Luke, you can finish this off, and then I'll give a little preview.
All right, yeah, you kind of took my Alcaraz shout out, so I guess. All right, instead of a shout out of the week, I'll go if I've disliked a million different organizations today. So then my next diss of the day, I guess we'll call it, is U.S. soccer. I'll leave it brief. I called it. What did I tell you? You can't bring out your fucking D team and expect to win a tournament. You can't do it, and you lost. Not only did you lose, but you lost to the loser of the final. So technically,
Panama.
in tournament terms, that puts you in fourth place of a tournament that you've won pretty often. So congrats. Hope you learned from it. I was right. Suck it. And yeah, I guess it's all.
Yeah, all right. Quick preview for next week. So Luke and I were talking about this briefly, no confirmation, but next week we're gonna get into some NFL talk now that we're just about month and a half away from the season. So we're gonna do some divisional winner predictions and maybe even some Super Bowl predictions. So stay tuned for next week. Thank you to everybody in our comment section. Loved interacting with you guys. And
Keep
thank you to our
commenting.
sponsors. Yeah, keep coming, keep watching. We appreciate all the viewers and all the comments. Signing off, Jordan, and we want to give a last shout out to FanUp. FanUp is the best way to enjoy fantasy sports, daily MLB contests, and more. Win great prizes. Sign up today. Use promo code A2D for 5,000 bonus points. That's a $50 value. That's FanUp in the App Store. You want to kick it off or tune it off?
All right. We'll see you guys for week number 6. Divisional winners, I believe, will be next week, unless some breaking Sixers news or something like that happens. But yeah, we'll see you guys next week. Thanks for tuning in. Keep commenting, and see you next week.